Hi, my name is Christy Hopkins. I'm Vice President for Enrollment at McPherson College. Today I'm visiting with the faculty of our Teacher Education Department. We all know that there's been a recent decline of teachers both in the state of Kansas and nationally. At McPherson College, we strive to make a difference in our teacher education system by producing wonderful graduates throughout the state. Today I have our faculty members. I'm going to start by having them introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what areas they teach within the Teacher Education Department. And so, Shane, I'll start with you.
All right. I'm Shane Kirshner. I'm chair of the department. I've been at McPherson College for 16 years now. I'm actually a graduate of McPherson College. I have a degree in speech theater and a Spanish major as well, and I taught at the local high school here in both Spanish and theater. And I taught in Illinois for a couple of years. So that's kind of my background. At McPherson College, I teach our Principles and Strategies of Teaching class, which is the first how to write a lesson plan type class. And I help monitor the student teaching seminar. So when kids are out in the field finishing up, I help with that process. And I also do a lot of work in our graduate program.
Great.
Hi, I'm Vicki Schmidt. I am in my 5th year here at McPherson College. Prior to that, I came from the public school system. I taught 3rd and 4th grade in Salina, USD 305. My responsibilities at McPherson College Teacher Ed are teaching some of the methods classes. I share most of the methods classes with my colleague April, who you'll hear from in a moment. And I teach one of our final senior level courses right before student teaching called the Teaching Learning Process, which is like educational psychology. I also work with placing our practicum students in field experiences.
Very good.
Hi, my name is April Counts. I taught in the public school system for 22 years, and this is my 3rd year at McPherson College. I teach the very first class you would take, which is Intro to Education, and then I teach Intro to Special Education, which is what I taught for 18 years. I also taught regular education. I taught ESL for a couple of years. And then I teach educational technology. I teach some methods courses. So I teach a gamut of things, and that's what I do.
That's great. That's fantastic to hear all the experience that you guys come with, as well as some of the things that you do within the department. We're really fortunate to have faculty members who've had that prior experience. So Shane, why don't we start off, if you wouldn't mind, let's have you talk a little bit and do an overview of what the Teacher Ed Department is about at McPherson College.
All right. We offer licensure through the Kansas State Department of Education in about 15 different areas. I'm going to grab my notes so I get them correct. Of course, we offer elementary ed as one program. At the secondary level, we have licensure in history, math, English, biology, and chemistry. And then in Kansas, it's considered kindergarten through 12th grade, a full license in music, art, speech theater, PE, health, and Spanish. In addition to those, we also have added endorsements in ESL, English as a second language, and special ed. And we'll talk a little bit more about those later.
Great. I don't know how you keep all those straight, so that's great. So you guys, you know that there's several colleges throughout the state that offer a teacher education program. So April, why don't you share with us a little bit about why would a student want to study teacher education at McPherson College?
That's a great question, Chrissy. One of the reasons is location. We're kind of in the middle of Kansas. We are kind of a smaller area. McPherson is a 4A school, and just north of us is Salina, and they are a 5A school. Just south of us is Hutch. They're a 5A school. Wichita is south of us, and they're a 6A school. And there are also scattered around us are a lot of 1A and 2A schools. There are some 3A schools as well. So we have a variety to choose from. Whatever you want to teach in, we have it around us. We have personal relationships. We form personal relationships with our students. We have personal relationships ourselves with people on campus, in our office. So personal relationships are important to us. We form personal relationships with the districts that we send you to. So it's important to us for you to form personal relationships with the people we're sending you to. As professors, we serve as your supervisors. So there are only 3 of us in the department. So we are forming those relationships with you so we know who you are. And when you go out and do your student teaching, we know you best. So we can be your supervisors. We know your strengths and your weaknesses.
That's great. I know, having kids who grew up in the local school system, it was always fun to have the McPherson College students as student teachers, and also in their practicum areas as well, and always really proud of the work that our students do in the system here. So thank you. Shane, would you share a little bit of how the whole curriculum, how does this all work together as a student? What kind of classes do I take, and how does the curriculum work?
Yeah. At McPherson College, if you're an elementary ed major, you will actually have your diploma will say your major was education elementary ed. All the other areas, however, your major and what shows up on your diploma is going to be biology or chemistry or music or art or whatever else. So we have a lot of back and forth with the other departments that we have to do. So as a freshman, you come in, we want to make sure we get you an intro to ed, hopefully your first semester here, so you get a feel for that. So April will teach that and get that foundation built. And then the freshman year is a lot of the gen ed classes that anyone at McPherson College is going to have to take, be it a English comp class, a basic math class. So a lot of those, but we also want to make sure you get a little feel for the education department, and that's usually intro to ed. As you move into the sophomore year, we have what we call our professional education classes, which are things like intro to SPED, principles and strategies of teaching, ed tech, intercultural ed. So a lot of those general education classes that everyone is going to take, and those create kind of a unique circumstance that you'll have a future elementary teacher sitting next to a future biology teacher, next to a PE teacher, and they all bring their own unique perspective into the classroom. And so they get to share different ideas. So when someone's talking about classroom management in a class, a kindergarten teacher is going to have a whole different perspective than a high school chemistry teacher might. And so they get to bounce those ideas off of each other. As they transition into your junior year, there's a lot of the methods classes to refer to for the LEd side. So Vicki and April teach a lot of those classes. If you're an art major or a biology major, history major, your junior year, we don't see you a lot. You're really more in the major, finishing up those classes. And then the senior year is polishing off anything that's left, plus a whole semester of student teaching out in the field, where, again, as April said, we'll be your supervisors for that, and you'll get that full experience doing that. So that's kind of a quick walk through the 4 years.
That's great. Very good. Well, I know one of the big parts of the teacher education program is getting into the schools, even as early as you can, and getting that practicum experience as well as student teaching experience. So, Vicki, why don't you tell us a little bit about the practicum experience and then also the student teaching placement process in that.
Okay, thanks. One of the things that I think we do really well is practicum experience here at McPherson College. Your very first year here with us, we're going to ensure that you have an opportunity to get out into the public schools. Once you've taken Intro to Ed, you're going to be enrolled in a class called Intro to Education Practicum, which provides you an opportunity to get out into a classroom to really see if education is truly what you want to do. And clearly we want you to find that out soon. We want you to find that out your freshman year. We don't want you to find that out when you're a junior, because that's not good for anyone. And so we have a couple of opportunities for that experience. That experience generally happens during our January term, in between the fall and the spring semesters. And since we require one of our experiences to be in a diverse setting, we usually require that you do that practicum experience in the Wichita Public Schools, which are a 6A school district located about an hour south of us, which is very diverse. Lots of diversity in the Wichita Public Schools. We do actually also offer an experience that would allow you to travel to Chicago and do some observation in the Chicago Public Schools. And that trip lasts for about a week. We ride the train out to Chicago, and we spend some time getting to know the city and exploring the various neighborhoods, the diversity within the city, as Chicago is one of the most diverse cities in the United States. And then the last 3 days, you were able to actually observe out in the public schools in Chicago in pairs. And while that can sound a little bit intimidating, we have taken students on that experience who have never left the city of McPherson, who were truly the leaders who kind of spearheaded the group on public transportation out into the city. So it's really quite a unique experience, and one that many other schools don't offer. And so that's an experience that I'm very excited about. That experience is just observation. So it's 30 hours in a classroom, really just observing to make sure this is really what you want to do. And assuming that you want to continue and you continue on in teacher ed, obviously when you're in your methods classes, April and I teach the bulk of those. And it has been really a focus for us to try and get students out in the public schools during your methods classes, practice teach in a group scenario with the instructor, April or I, present to kind of help and support you. So that's kind of I don't know, an intermediate practicum experience that would precede then your junior practicum experience, your junior year, which requires you to do 50 hours in the classroom. And during that time, we also require you to plan and teach 4 lessons on your own. And the cooperating teacher in those classrooms then offers us some feedback about how you're doing before you begin that senior year and we get ready to make a student teaching placement. Shane and April both articulated very well that we serve as your supervisors for that student teaching experience, which I think is important because, as April said, we know you best. But because of those personal relationships that we establish with our students, I also think we do a better job than most at making sure our students are set up with cooperating teachers that are going to best support their personal teaching style, their personality, and support their strengths and weaknesses. So I think this is really a big strength of our program.
I agree with that.
That's great, and I'm so glad that you mentioned the Chicago Center. I think I've heard so many students say that that was a life-changing experience for them, both professionally and personally. So I think that that's an amazing experience that you guys provide our students.
It was a life-changing experience for me, and I took my daughter back that next summer.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think we've all taken at least one child on that trip now.
That's true.
So, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, you know, one of the other things that I think is pretty amazing, and it's something that we've added recently, is the combination of the master's in education along with the bachelor's degree. And I know, Shane, you've done a lot of work to get that going and to build that program. And so why don't you talk a little bit about how a student can do that and what that means?
Sure. So we refer to it as our combined or direct entry master's program. So it's set up so that as you go work through the curriculum for licensure in whatever area you're looking at, you can add the special ed or the ESL endorsement to that. And at the same time you're adding those classes, we have what we call our core master's programs, which lead to a research project that you'll conduct during student teaching. And if you get it all timed out right, you can actually get all of this work done in 4 short years. So it's a heavy schedule. We acknowledge it as a heavy schedule. It's particularly designed for students who are eager to do that. I have a few students who want to be athletes also, and they're finding trouble being both an athlete and a grad student. So it's not necessarily designed for that. Not that they can't do it, they simply can't do it in 4 years. So that is something to consider. If you want to play your sport, doing the combined program is possibly not a good choice for you. But those are the realities of it, and we try to inform everyone clearly of that as they join us. But it's a series of approximately 5 core classes that they would do that lead to their research project, and then 5 additional courses in either special ed or ESL that add to that added license. So it's a great way to get a good boost. You can start on the pay scale a little higher than your peers. You'll have all that credit behind you ready to go. While you're accumulating college debt, accumulate it and get your master's degree at the same time. That way you don't have to, a lot of students we have come back and get their master's degree in education, but you know, this time you can kind of lump it in with your original financial aid as opposed to coming back and doing it all again later and having to take out more loans at a later time. So it's convenient to kind of get it done all at one time. So,
That's great.
it's an exciting time. It is fairly new, so it's fun to see that grow and develop.
Yeah, and even, even if it takes a student 5 years, that's still much quicker than what most people are doing, and being able to go straight through and then go into the workforce with that knowledge and with that additional degree is pretty amazing.
And we've got quite a few plans worked out now. I've been working with a student who's an art major, so our original design was for an elementary teacher. What does it look like for an L-Ed person to go straight through and get the master's? But as others have come through, we've created the program. So we've got someone in PE doing the combined program. We've got someone in art doing it right now. And, I've got a couple of people, I think, in English who are exploring the idea, who are freshmen this year, who will probably add that in the next semester or so. They'll start looking at that. So
that's great. That is great. It's been fun watching that develop and to see that come to fruition. So that's pretty exciting. So, it's not all classroom work at McPherson College in the teacher education department. So there's also some clubs and ways for students to get involved professionally, but yet in a club atmosphere, and just some added things that help add to their experience. So Vicki, I know Vicki and April, you both have areas that you're kind of overseeing and part of. You all three are part of all of them. But Vicki, why don't you start and talk with us about KDP?
Okay, sure. KDP stands for Kappa Delta Pi. Kappa Delta Pi is an international honor society for educators, and it's been around for over 100 years. We actually just chartered the McPherson College chapter of Kappa Delta Pi just 3 years ago, and we're working to grow our membership. You do have to be invited to join Kappa Delta Pi, as there is a GPA requirement. You are required to have a 3.0 GPA to be invited, as well as you have to maintain that 3.0 GPA for as long as you are a member. You also need to be a person that is identified as a person of service and a person with leadership potential. I will say that April and I have tried really hard to kind of differentiate so that we don't have two clubs that students feel like they have to pick to be a member of one or the other. So we're really working to try and develop the focus of each group to be different. And Kappa Delta Pi really strives to have a presence in advocating for the profession of teaching. And then the international organization itself is very focused on literacy. And so for that reason, we really kind of strive to just focus on the promotion of literacy. We do that by sponsoring a book fair every year during our fall homecoming event. We have a book fair in the library, which generates lots of money for us that we can use to donate books back to our local elementary schools. And then also just advocating the profession of teaching and trying to make sure that teachers are recognized and appreciated for their efforts, and doing events that I guess adhere to those principles. And so right now we are looking at doing some initiation in both the fall and the spring to try and grow our organization. So we'll be identifying students earlier for Kappa Delta Pi so that hopefully we can have them sooner and longer.
That's great. And then April, why don't you tell us about our Aspiring Educators group?
Okay, Aspiring Educators is the student group of KNEA, which is Kansas National Education Association, and that's our chapter here on campus. And we do a lot of fun things, and you don't even have to be an education major to join. Anybody can join. It's open to the whole campus. In fact, when I first started working at McPherson College, there was one person that was not an education major that was in our club. We haven't had one since, but we are open to anybody being in our club. So we meet once a month, and we try to do some sort of activity once a month, whether it's for just the members of our club, for the whole campus, or for the community. So an example of that is for finals week, we try to get together and we get pizza and have a movie just as a relaxation for the members of our club. just so if you're, if you're stressed out about finals, come and have some pizza and watch a movie as a break. We usually have an Easter egg hunt on campus for the community members, for their kids, for Easter. This year we did for Valentine's Day, we did you could come get a flower or a crush can is what the kids were calling it. I was like, what's a crush can? They had to tell me it was a can of crushed soda to somebody that they wanted to give it to for Valentine's Day. We do things like that, and we try to do something once a month.
We do Thanksgiving at my house.
We do a Friendsgiving at Shane's house.
Nice.
35, 40 people.
Ever between Kappa Delta Pi and aspiring educators. And everybody brings a side dish. We buy a turkey and Shane cooks it at his house. And we set up tables and we give away door prizes, we have fun. And a lot of people don't get to go home for Thanksgiving, so this is their Thanksgiving meal. And we usually try to have a lot of fun. We have food at every meeting because that makes people come. But it's a lot of fun, and we try to do something, like I said, once a month, whether it's just for the people in our club, something for campus, or something for the community.
That's awesome. And I know there's, you guys, your department puts on one visit day each year that I've been a part of and have watched from the first one to where you guys have done, I think, 3 now, if I have that correct, called EdChat. And so I think it's a really unique opportunity for future teachers to be part of. So why don't you guys talk a little bit about what is EdChat and why would someone come to EdChat?
I think anybody who is interested in education, even just a little bit, would benefit from coming to EdChat. Even if this is a profession that you're on the fence about, it's really an opportunity to kind of explore what education is all about, and maybe help kind of narrow that path or eliminate it or really focus it. Generally, we have students come, we set up stations around campus, and we brought in a number of various speakers and presenters to do really hands-on education related things with the high school students that come to join us, anywhere from how to do a great read aloud to incorporating technology into the classroom to developing hands-on literacy lessons. And students are really able to participate in those sessions hands-on, and in some cases even leave with resources that, if they're serious about education, they can actually hang on to and use in the future.
That's great. And I love to see how our students are involved in that as well. So I know that that's one of the aspects is, I think, didn't they do a panel during that day for students to? Yes,
student teachers lead a discussion panel of what it's like to be a student teacher. And then some of our other students get to lead some of those groups as well. So it's a great opportunity for our students as well as for the high school students that we invite on campus to learn more about the profession.
That's great. Well, I can't say enough about our department. You look across, well, I know certainly in McPherson and across the state, this department has put out a lot of fantastic teachers, and really we've gone on to see several of those become Teacher of the Year, even, in McPherson and in Kansas. And so really, there's so many wonderful things about the department. And I know you all we started with you talking about what your education experience has been in the public schools before here. And so why don't we close by just telling, why do you choose to teach at McPherson College when you could be doing a number of different things or be in the classroom? But what is it about teaching and teaching at McPherson College that keeps you here?
I personally like teaching at McPherson College because I taught little kids for a long time, and I wanted to make the connection between the little kids and the people who were teaching them. I wanted to bridge that gap, and I love making the personal connections with those kids who are becoming adults and showing them how to make the connections with those little kids and how to make a difference for them.
That's great. Vicki?
I would have to say that after being in the elementary classroom, I just always felt a calling to teach more mature individuals. And I really, truly enjoy and appreciate the ability to establish personal relationships with students who are young adults. And I feel that I have just a real opening to impact somebody's life in terms of helping them figure out what they want to do with their lives, and really, I don't know, inspiring them along their path if I can. So I cannot imagine another place that I would rather be. And to kind of piggyback on what April said, it's the perfect blend of being able to I'm still impacting elementary students and middle school students and high school students because I'm impacting their future teachers. And this is my dream job. I'll never see myself doing anything else anywhere else.
That's awesome.
I can't disagree with anything they've said. I would echo all of those statements. And I suppose my connection's a little bit different. I am a graduate of McPherson College Teacher Ed program, so I'm class of '92. And to build on that even further, my mom is a McPherson College 1965 elementary ed major all those years ago. So I've got quite a family connection and quite a history with the college. So that's probably why I choose the college. But again, just teaching future teachers is a great thing to do. Again, everything that they've said, building the relationships and the amount of influence and impact, that the ripple effect that you can have by, every teacher has a ripple effect on the 20 or so kids that they have in class at any given moment. But to be able to impact a teacher who's going to impact other children for many, many years is really cool. It's just really a great opportunity. And I'm hoping I'm doing that, I guess, is how I'd leave it.
Absolutely. I think you all are. So I really appreciate you spending some time with me today and talking through this. I know we'll be hopefully we'll be getting this in the hands of students who are considering McPherson College for teacher education. And I know that as part of that, if there's any questions that students have as they watch this, and if they're interested, I know that you guys are all available to talk with students and visit with them about that journey, even if they're still just trying to figure it out. I know you guys are all very willing to visit with students on that level. So I appreciate your time today. I appreciate what you guys do in the classroom here at McPherson College as well. So have a great day.